How's it hanging? How's it hanging? Phone ringing, she's slinging. I have decided that I don't really like the way that I do wrap-ups. I don't like the big, long, here's 12 books that I have to compile my review into one single video. I don't like that. It's not fun for me. It's not fun for me to watch. I don't like watching wrap-ups. I don't like making wrap-ups. I just don't enjoy them. What I do enjoy is weekly wrap-ups because I feel like I get a lot more information about what somebody likes about a book, what they're reading, also what they're going to read in like a little bundle. You know, it just feels like I'm connected a little bit closer time-wise to what they're fucking doing, right? I don't know if people are gonna like this. I have no idea, but that's what I'm gonna try to do because I think it's gonna be more fun. If you like monthly wrap-ups, don't you worry, sweet baby child. There will still be a monthly wrap-up, but it will be focusing more on, did I finish my TBR? These are the books that I read. What are my stats for the month? How many pages did I read? That type of thing. Maybe like a ranking of the books that I read. I don't fucking know. I just think it would be more fun to do that. So that's what I'm gonna do. So today, it's my first weekly wrap-up. Hello, welcome, how are you? How are we doing? How are we going? It's Sunday, it's windy, it's a wonderful fall day, let's talk. I meant to film this video last week, but I was sick. So I have 2 weeks to wrap up in this video. Luckily, I only read 2 books in those 2 weeks. Fantastic. So the first book I read in the month of November was TikTok by Dean Koontz. What is this about, Joe? What is this about? So pretty much we're following this guy named Tommy. He is a Vietnamese American. His family immigrated to the United States when he was 8 years old, and since then he has become just obsessed with the idea of the American dream. Now, this is a suspense novel, so that is probably not what I should start with. What should I start with? Okay, so one day he opens the door. There's this creepy ass doll. He brings the doll inside. The doll kind of starts to rip itself apart and turn into a creature that is now hell-bent on killing Tommy. But what I got out of this is more of like an identity crisis, okay? Like I said, he's a Vietnamese American. His family immigrated when he was 8. He becomes obsessed with the American dream. He refuses to speak Vietnamese. He wants to erase his Vietnamese culture just completely out of his life. And his mom is not happy about that. His mom wants him to, you know, stick to his roots, come and join the family, work at the family bakery, but he wants to be an author. He wants to be American. He just wants everything in his life to be just uber Americanized. And I feel like the creepy ass doll that is coming to kill him, it's chasing him around. It's kind of like a metaphor for this mother-son relationship. It's kind of like a metaphor for a mother's love for her son and also a mother's fear for her son going through this life that she can't 100% connect to. In this book, I wanted a story about a creepy doll, right? I wanted a creepy doll story. I wanted a creepy, chasey kind of paranormal situation. What I got out of it was an identity crisis. So it wasn't exactly what I wanted. Did I still have a fun time? Yes, I still had a fun time. Were there some scary points? Yes, but it's not super gory. It's more of a suspense novel. Like, where is this thing at? Is it coming for us? TikTok pretty much refers to the time that this thing's gonna be going after him. He thinks it's gonna end at dawn, so he just has to make it until dawn, and he's running throughout the entirety of this book. So it is very suspenseful. I was feeling a little bit anxious at times, you know, wondering what's gonna happen. But like I said, it was more about this guy who is struggling with his identity and his relationship with his family. That's an interesting topic. That is a good thing to explore. I enjoyed that portion, but it's not what I wanted. So there we go. The only other book that I finished in the past 2 weeks was Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill. I've read NotSoAverageJo by Joe Hill. I really, really like that one. I read it a couple years ago at Christmas time, which is the best time to read that book. But this book kind of follows along the same vein as TikTok, okay? We're following this guy named Judas Coin who has this really weird obsession with collecting really dark things. So when the opportunity arises for him to buy a haunted suit online, he's like, click, boom, pow. He's like an old rocker dude. He was like a rocker back in the day, and now he's like in his 50s and he's retired. He's got way more money than he knows what to do with. So he buys this haunted suit. The girl who's selling the suit kind of pitches the suit as, it's my stepfather's suit. He's haunting it. He's kind of creeping out my daughter. He's not really bugging anybody, but we just want him to move on, you know? We want him out of the house. So that's what he's expecting. But what he gets is the stepfather of one of his previous female conquests who wants revenge on Judas because he believes that Judas is the reason that his stepdaughter committed suicide. So Judas is on the run from a paranormal monster. Like I said, very similar to TikTok. And Judas is also having a sort of identity crisis, okay? Judas is obviously not his real name. He comes from a small place in Louisiana on a farm where his father was like abusive. So he escapes at 16 to become this super awesome rock star, right? And so now that he's at the point where his father was at, he's wondering whether or not he's turning into his father because he's kind of an asshole. He's definitely an asshole. He's not the nicest human being on the planet. Actually, Judas honest, being an asshole is what made me DNF this book back in like 2019, 2018. But I think that him being an asshole is kind of like the point of the book. That's the reason why anything happens to Jude, is because Jude's an asshole. So the only reason that this story even exists is because Jude's an asshole. And also, throughout the course of the story, even though Jude's an asshole, are we getting the point that Jude's an asshole? Even though he is the way that he is, you find yourself, or I found myself, rooting for this motherfucker. I found myself rooting for this guy. Not because he changes into some good person or anything like that, but because you kind of have to, because it's like the lesser of two evils, right? I enjoyed this one. I had a lot of fun. There were a couple scenes in here that really creeped me out and made me double check some dark corners. So had a good time with that one. So what am I currently reading? I'm currently reading Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, and I'm also vlogging it. So if you want to vlog, girl, I got you. In about a week, we will have a vlog. What am I thinking about this one? I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it. A lot of the characters are pissing me off. A lot of the plot lines that I was interested in at the beginning of this book are just like out the window. We've just like left them in the dust. They're just like loose strings flapping in the wind. That's what's going on right now. Violet is also very irritating. Very, very irritating right now. She's got this whole thing where she is pissed at Xaden because he's not telling her everything, like literally everything. She wants to know everything before she will let him back in her pants, right? But she doesn't understand that literally everything bad that happened at the end of book 1 was her fault. It was all her fault, so no wonder he's not wanting to tell her everything. I'm not seeing as much of the dragons as I want to. The only person that I care about living or dying is Xaden. I love Xaden. I love the changes that I'm seeing in his character in this book. I also really like Imogen in this book as well. Rhiannon, take her or leave her. Rhydock, take him or leave him. Sawyer, he's just words, letters on a page. I don't know who that guy is. So character development is not, it's not thebomb.com, because I'm only really connecting to like 1 or 2 people in here, which is fine. I do really love the dragons, but like I said, we're not seeing much of the dragons in here. I don't know what they're doing. What are they doing? Where are they at? I don't know. We're not getting as much of the War College, which is one of my favorite things about book 1. So like, we've lost all the sauce. We've lost all the secret sauce that was making me love Fourth Wing. Page 324, a little over halfway is where I'm at. The other book that I'm currently reading is Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. I'm 187 pages into this. I'm taking it super slow because Robin Hobb's prose is thebomb.com, and I just want to like crawl inside of her sentences and just live there for a few seconds. And I'm also taking really extensive notes because this is a 16-book long saga series, so I want to be able to remember everything. I'm telling you, I have like 9 pages of notes already for this. Like chapter by chapter notes is what I'm doing. I read Assassin's Apprentice in October, loved it. We had a great time, and I'm really liking this one as well. The only thing that I'm a little about is there's some romantic things happening between Fitz and another character, and I'm not jiving with it. I just don't understand why they can't just remain platonic. Why can't they just be friends? Why do we have to have a romance? I have no idea. I'm not writing it off like just completely, because I have been convinced about romances in the past. I read The Inheritance Cycle. I was not down with Aragon and Arya until book 4. So it can happen. Robin Hobb can convince me. If anybody can convince me, it's Robin Hobb. You know, this is very slice of life. It's very focused on the human condition and depression. So if you're not in a good headspace, do not pick this up, baby girl, because it will kick you in the butt. But I'm really enjoying it. So what am I going to be reading? What am I going to be reading in the next week? I'm definitely going to be finishing up Iron Flame. That's like 100% going to be doing. I'm going to be working a little bit more in Royal Assassin, but I'm not anticipating finishing that book at all. I definitely want to continue on with One Piece. I'm technically currently reading volume 14. I go chapter by chapter with One Piece. It's just whenever I need something fun, something funky, something fresh, I pick up One Piece. I'm not sure if I'll finish that volume next week or not. I am wanting to pick up Vinland Saga book 5. So that might be my manga for the week. Either way, One Piece, like I said, chapter by chapter. I go chapter by chapter. So I'm technically currently in volume 14. I just pick it up whenever I want to. So let me know down below what you are currently reading. What is the plans for the week, man? What are we talking about? What are we reading? What are we talking about this week? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you had a good time hanging out with me on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next time.